Hello and welcome back. In this video, we will explore how to enforce OPA policies on your Kubernetes cluster. This works on any Kubernetes cluster, so we don't need to use the same configuration as I'm doing. So let's not waste any time and jump right into it. So I have this repository set up that explains to you how to use the code that I've built. I already have a kind cluster created, so I'll just install the OPA Gatekeeper Helm chart in my Kubernetes cluster. So I'll just copy these commands and paste them here inside of my CLI. So this takes a couple of seconds, and until this is ready, I can walk you through how this is working. So basically what you have to do is you have to create a constraint template, and in that constraint template you can add a Rego policy. So in my example, I'm using a Rego policy that walks through the spec and looks into the containers and basically checks if the container image ends with latest. If this image ends with latest, this will be a violation, and I won't leave the developers that are trying to create a pod with this configuration, they won't be able to actually do it. At the same time, this is not doing anything on its own. So you'll need to also walk through and create a constraint based on it. And basically this constraint will just use that Kate has no image latest that I've shown you before here. As you can see, the kind in the CRD specified in here. And basically I will restrict all pod resources to create container with the latest image tag. So let's try and deploy these two, and after that try to deploy a pod that uses the latest image version. So we will start with the constraint. So let's add the constraint here, and as you can see, the constraint template has been created successfully. And now let's apply and create the constraint itself. And now again, let's look at the pod, see it has the latest image, try to create a pod with this configuration. As you can see, I get an error from server. This is forbidden because Gatekeeper sees this and denies the request. Because in our constraint we don't have deployments mentioned or replica sets or daemon sets and stuff like that, we can create basically deployments, for example, that use the latest image tag. So I can show you that this is working, and as you can see, it worked just fine. Let's delete it. If we want to update this and make it deny the creation of containers with the latest image in deployments as well, we will have to take a look here and see that there is a difference between pods and deployments. In pods, you have spec and then you have the containers block, and in deployments you have this spec first, then you have the template, then you have another spec, and then you have containers. So this constraint template has to be updated. Let's delete this and try to update the constraint template. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this violation here, and what I will do is I will add spec.template.spec.containers, and this is done again because this is the structure we have in a deployment. So it's spec, template, spec, and then containers. In order to make sure that this works properly, we will also have to add the deployment in here, and the deployment is in the API group called apps, so we'll have to add it here as well. So now let's reapply the constraint template first, and then we can apply the constraint as well. And now if we try to apply the deployment, you will see that this isn't working anymore, which is to be expected. If we want to test and see if this is working, if we provide an image version that is different than latest, we can do it. So let's try and create a pod now, and this should be, and it is working as expected. So this is it for today. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you in the next one. Thanks.